So the last couple of edits of this video, I started way too early. Story of my life really, start early and then come last. But it's been a month since my fight, if you cannot already tell, with a full head of hair and the slightly longer sides, not even just talking about the scalp. It's been a month since my last fight and I'm now just getting around to doing a reaction video to it. I've made sure the noise is off because my editing skills are not quite on point yet. And a bit like a ball going down a field, let's let this roll. So a marvellous event was happening, obviously. It was had, as people say. I'm going to let this pretty much be completely uncut. A lot of people have told me that is their preference. Take what you will from that, of course. But let's get this party started. So, starts off with, obviously, my opponent going in first. Fantastic ring walk, by the way. I was watching just from behind. I had a little sneak through, really. I was a bit nosy. And obviously, I wanted to hear what his music was. Couldn't quite hear it, obviously. Bit deafening. But it was quite good nonetheless. You know, I thought we played it off fantastically. Also wanted to see how he actually did the ring walk as well, because if I'd have gone first, it would have been an absolute calamity. I wouldn't know when to walk forward and all that sort of stuff. I was briefed about it. I had no idea, my friend. Had no idea. But as you can see, he's coolly walking through into the ring, per se. My name's being announced any moment now as well. And I remember this really clearly, because as you may have seen from the last video, I didn't exactly feel that great at the time. Obviously, as I got closer to the ring, I felt a lot better. Sounds dodgy already when I'm saying it like that, but it's not what you think it is. I'll probably be saying that quite a lot today. A lot of innuendos in there, but here I am. Dangerous, a bit like my driving, of course. That's why I like to choose this one as my theme tune, if you like. Come on, you irons, coming up. Oh, I've already done it. I did the hammers there. That's probably a bit of a nervous sort of tick, as you can say, not talking about Nike. So I go through the ring walk, just checking me out. Ring guy is behind me. Ring guy? My corner man is behind me. And yeah, I was going to go under the ropes a few times, like Conor Benn done, but I kind of thought, well, I'm not really going to follow what Conor Benn does, for obvious reasons at the moment. A little cheeky spin there as well, practicing a bit of ballroom dancing, and off I was to be briefed. Not debriefed, obviously, keeping it clean. And I remember sort of looking across at my opponent at this point, and I was relatively on edge, relatively nervous, if I'm going to be honest. Not necessarily about the fight itself, it was just about what I actually could do. Because if I'm honest with you, literally 30 seconds of shadow boxing before the fight even commenced, and I was absolutely done, mate. A bit like a woman in the middle of a bukkake, I was completely fucked. I'm going to keep that in. That's what she said. So obviously being briefed, being allowed, look at that, hand up in the air, got a cracking photo. This is now on my business cards, obviously. Fantastic. This fight itself did so much for my business. The amount of photos and footage I've got to promote myself as a coach has been phenomenal. Absolutely marvellous, obviously. I remember this point, walking in the middle of the ring. My guy was staring me out. If honestly, I wasn't really interested. Like, I don't really care too much for staring people in the face. Being autistic has its perks, you don't really stare people in the eye. So I start off nice and steady, just literally, if I'm honest, just testing the reactions a little bit, seeing where he goes down to. I knew from even previous spars with the guy that my left hook would be a big part of this, because it was kind of the hand that was always sort of like down. His right hand was always technically down. But I thought going into this fight, initially what I wanted to do was pressure him for 2 rounds, stalk him down, get him to throw quite a lot of punches, and then obviously, you know, take him out in the 3rd round. But my energy levels on that fight just did not allow me to do it. So I thought, well, I've got to try and make this as controlled and as calm for myself as possible. And that's pretty much what I did. A lot of the technique did go a bit out the window, if I'm honest, just from like looking at certain parts of the footage. When I'm throwing my jab, my elbow's winging it a little bit, pretty much like me whenever I do these videos. But of course, I was just picking my shots, I was taking the time. There wasn't punches and bunches, which is what I really wanted to do, but again, energy levels just would not allow that at all. But again, he was a very technical boxer and I liked that, but it also played into my strength a bit, because where he wasn't willing to go forward as much as my last 2 opponents, he did help me pick my shots a little bit more. I actually caught him really well there, because his hair just sort of swiveled up, so I've ruined his short back and sides hairstyle. That might have pissed him off a little bit. I was just used to being messy, as you can see. I can tell. So again, I was just sort of bopping and weaving, moving around a little bit. I had my left arm down for a lot of this time as well, and it was a little bit of an energy preservation thing. I just felt quite heavy, if I'm going to be completely honest with you. And ironically, considering this is the lightest I've ever been. Again, a little bit of a shit jab there from me. But I'm moving around, I'm catching him. I've sort of got a few times where I've got cues of when he's going to throw. I've watched a lot of his footage on the lead up to this fight as well, because he's actually got footage on the YouTube already. So I was watching a lot of that to see what his sort of little cues are. And obviously at the end of the round, bent his head back a little bit, which was marvellous, and that was a good end to the first round. Feeling alright, you know, getting into it a little bit more. I could hear the crowds going a little bit. It's weird because this fight in particular, I was very intuitive, or I was very in tune with everything around me, even the surround sound, especially his cornerman, who I know quite well as well. I've sparred him a few times. He's hurt me a few times too. He's a fantastic boxer. Both of which cornermen are absolutely marvellous boxers. Both of which I've sparred, and both of which have beaten me up. A little bit like a neglected stepchild. That's a bit wrong. That's a bit wrong. But anyway, carrying on. Ring card girl was nice. Very cheeky. Very cheeky. No, she was the best at what she did, if I'm going to be honest with you. I saw, you know, her doing a fantastic job out there, so I see that. So again, face is being completely Vaselined up, not for what you'd think. Just obviously avoid any form of cuts and stuff. And the cornerman as well, my cornerman Donnie, was fantastic. You know, fantastic feedback throughout. Just told me to keep it simple. Obviously, me being a simpleton, it made a lot of sense to be that way. So second round down the way. Just toying up with the jabs a little bit. Moving around, moving back whenever I feel like it need to. And again, it was a good shot that I'd always catch with. Anytime he threw his jab, I knew I could throw my jab back and catch him, because his right hand tends to drop quite a little bit. That bit I sort of caught his fist in between my hands there, giggly. And again, I'm just throwing that double jab and doubling up a little bit more. I'm trying to get a little bit more volume, not with my hair obviously, but with the actual sort of, I completely forgot what we're getting on about really, but the actual volume of effort being perceived there. I like that little slot. I've actually whacked that into TikTok. Follow me on that. I'm on 188 followers at the moment. That move I liked a lot as well. The one thing I really liked about this fight is where I was sort of, I knew I had to make it as easy as possible for myself, or as comfortable as possible for myself. I was moving around a lot more, and I was unwilling to take as many shots, which played into my plans quite well. And I think another thing that really helped is actually not having headgear on. Because a lot of these shots I probably would have caught, even though, you know, he hasn't caught me there. It's because I've got a massive thick head guard on, and my head being as big as it is and my nose being as big as it is, it made a lot of sense for me to just not have that. But again, I was just catching every time. I noticed his right hand kept dropping, and I was just catching him whenever I felt like, and it just felt good in there. You know, I did feel quite comfortable as the rounds went on. I say rounds, it was only 3. But again, if I'm honest, I'm not meaning this in a whole way, because he was fantastic in my opinion. I think he performed really well, a lot better than that was expected. But I just kind of knew what I needed to do. You know, if he'd have come forward a little bit more, he could have. I actually reckon he probably could have given me, potentially could have really hurt me, if I'm honest with you. But overall, good boxer. Loved his boots. Fantastic boxer. Loved his boots. Good boots. We certainly got on the right foot. And that was the end of round 2. At this point, right, funny point, the cornerman says to me, "Oh, you're not even slightly tired, are you?" Because I didn't look like I was really putting, you know, I wasn't exerting myself as much. I couldn't say not making a lot of effort, because I was fucking shattered by the end of it. But it was the fact that, you know, they know I'm physically fit, as you like, sort of thing. Obviously not good looking, well, I think I am, not a lot of people do. Terrible. I always say I'm not everyone's cup of tea, and for other people on the mug. But anyway, it's another story. As I said, it was just a matter of just upping the volume a little bit more for the final round, just to make it for definite. And this is the round again where I think he actually did really, really well. I thought he did fantastic in this round, my opponent, I must say. He put it on me a lot more, and he was coming forward a lot more. Some people like that. But he was really, you know, coming in my fisting my face, punching my face quite a bit, you know, which was phenomenal, I thought. The last round, obviously, spudding each other. Respect. But as I said, you know, a really good end to this fight. I thought he did brilliantly to come forward a little bit more, and he threw a lot more shots. I was happy to just keep my head sort of like moving the whole time. I felt like that was the best chance I had of just getting through this last round and trying to sort of, you know, make this as convincing as I can. I covered up for a few shots, allowed him to expend his energy in the first part of the 3rd round. And then obviously I got him a couple of times with my left hook and the jab. That was the main thing that I sort of utilised really. In terms of throwing my body shots, which I'm somewhat known for, I suppose, if you've seen other footage, didn't get a lot of them. Funny story with that. I could hear his corner man at one point shout, "That's the shot," because every time what I was doing is I was throwing a few times, I was going to the body, and when I heard that, I knew straight away to throw that shot and then just pull back. I do kind of think that may have affected my power on the night a little bit more, because I don't think I threw my power into full potential, one of which was bloody shattered, to be honest with you. But also, I think because I knew I was going to have to pull back straight afterwards in order to react. But again, there's two things I noticed. It's almost like watching Fight Night in a way, because I'm spamming two buttons. I'm spamming the right body shot at one stage, and I'm spamming that jab straight to his head every single time. But again, just making it as comfortable as possible. This was actually the moment that made me laugh the most, because I remember hearing, "Oh yeah, you've only got 30 seconds left, 30 seconds left." That 30 seconds felt like bloody forever. That felt like a conversation with, I ain't got anything witty to say, to be honest with you. Just felt like a long conversation with someone I don't like, but I can't really mention any names because I might get in trouble. Anyway, keeping it PG as per usual. Peach guidance, that's not it. This was the last bit. This was a really scrappy little bit as well. I knew I could cover up a bit, but I had to throw as much as I was getting back as well. Reason being is obviously you want to try and make it as convincing as possible as you want. Caught him with the right hand at the end there, and that I think sealed the deal for me. Respect where it's given. It was a fantastic fight. He challenged me really well, I thought. You know, it was just a good fight, and he's very technically gifted in my opinion. I mean, he's the best fighter I've had so far out of the three that I've fought, you know. Leant down in the air thing there, I felt like I was actually going to faint. I felt absolutely bloody terrible. By the way, love his tattoos, fantastic. Need some tattoo ideas, might ask him about that. But yeah, just felt absolutely shattered. And obviously I knew from my first two fights that you have to sort of like, even once you've had the fight, you know, raise your hand up in the air and all that jazz, wave it around like you just don't care. And you know, just to sort of, you know, convince the crowd that, you know, you've still got it in you, still got left in the tank, if you like. I can tell you now, after this fight, I went back to where all my friends were staying, and not their home, you know, the actual table. I slumped and I probably fell asleep for about 10-15 minutes. Had my medical, went back to the where I was sitting and just fell asleep for a bit. I was tired, I was fucked. And, you know, like the world at my feet, it was also falling out my backside. Sorry, that was a really shit joke, that, wasn't it? But let's just say I let it all out the week after. I had a dippy stomach for about a week and a half. Eventually healed up, and now here I am. I've made most of the food. I've got facial hair again. I did there, but obviously to this level, disgraceful. Hair looks dreadful, but it is what it is. Bit like my dreams, I need a fade. And I don't know where I was getting at with that. Here's obviously the moment of truth. I've got a bottle in my right hand, so if I did lose, I could say I bottled it. But I was quite convinced that I'd won the fight already. It was just a matter of getting that announcement so I could then go back and fall asleep, if I'm completely honest. As I said before, respect where it was given. Shout out to Honey's Boxing, shout out to Joe, shout out to Hannah for a phenomenal event. It was absolutely fantastic. The light show that would have killed out many epileptics. Can't say that. No, I can. I've got a friend who's epileptic. Which was phenomenal at the start. And all the other parts of the event. If I'm honest with you, I missed a lot of the event up until my fight and afterwards, and the reason being was because I was actually backstage just having a sleep, trying to sleep off a tremendously horrible cold or whatever the frick it was. It wasn't great. But as I said, regrouped since. I've got a couple of injuries I need to sort of rehabilitate now, and then I'm back on it, and as soon as I feel it's necessary, essentially. Got to sort these bad boys out first. I could sort this out, but that costs money. I don't have money for cosmetic surgery. Anyway, that is the end of the video. Thank you very much for watching. All the best, God bless, and I shall see you in the next one, whenever that is. God bless, peace. And finally, the word of the video is going to be Biltoned. So please do not Bilton this video. Give it a like, subscribe, and I shall see you in the next one. Peace.